So, Assetto Corsa EVO is finally here. After an agonising wait and an hour's delay, it's finally arrived on our Steam pages. Hopefully you saw my live stream earlier where you saw me play the game for the very first time. And if you did see it, then you would have seen I had non-stop issues. The servers were offline, there was only 5 or 6 cars to drive, and all we could do was quick race or practice. I was aware this was early access, but this was really basic, not to mention the really slow menu system. And when I loaded onto the track, the problems continued. No more than 15 frames per second I was getting, and it was stuttering like crazy. It was honestly completely unplayable. So I just stopped the stream because there was no point continuing. After the stream, Kunos did release a patch about an hour after the game went live, and it did unlock all of the cars for us so we could drive anything. But the online issues continued. We weren't able to play the driving academy or do any special events or anything like that. But I did find, and this is a big game changer, turn off motion blur, because that took me from around, well, it took me over 30 frames per second. So I turned everything off, so all of my settings are the lowest, and I turned motion blur off, and it did gain me 30 plus FPS for some of the time. But even with all the graphics settings on low, like I said, my GPU is still maxed out, and my FPS is kind of between 5 and 40. At the start of races, it's right down, and it's terrible. And when there's lots of, graphical objects and people, it's absolutely terrible, and it's always stuttering. And I think the stutters are being caused by the sky, because when it stutters, the sky moves in one motion. So I don't know what that's all about. And my PC can play Cyberpunk, it can play all the Call of Duties on max settings, it can play all the latest games, maybe not on max, but on certainly high or medium, but it can't even play this on low. So, it must be some optimization issues. Obviously it is early access, so it can be forgiven. But yeah, now to the important stuff, the handling. To be honest, it's difficult to assess with the problems I've been having, because the frame rate is so bad, it's really difficult to control the car, to be honest. Some cars I've noticed are really difficult to handle under braking. I think the Hyundai I drove and the Escort Cosworth, you hit the brakes from high speed and the back end really comes alive, and I love that feeling because you just feel the back of the car rise up, the weight all goes onto the front, and it's just all over the place, and I love that. I think that's a brilliant feeling. I really love that. I think the way the suspension seems to feel, especially in the road cars anyway, feels really good. You can attack the curbs and there's loads of damping, and the way that the car sort of feels through the corners, the road cars, they feel really good. I really like that. There was also a lot of lift-off oversteer in basically all of the cars I drove, especially front-wheel drive. I mean, you let off the throttle in that Hyundai, and you're spinning around quite easily. Even in the S2000, you feel when you come off the throttle, the weight goes onto the front wheels, and you all of a sudden get a lot of front grip. So that's really good, and that feels really great. But when you get that front grip, you lose a whole load of rear grip, so the back end also comes around on you, so you have to be really careful. So that will take a bit of getting used to, certainly, and a lot more of that, what I spoke about in my previous videos, counter steering, in anticipation of the car actually getting sideways. Race cars do also feel much different from the road cars, which is great. They obviously are very different. The suspension is much more stiffer, and the way you drive the car is completely different from the road cars, so that's really good to know and to feel. Oversteer seems very difficult to control. As soon as you start getting sideways, you either sort of spin or you grip the tyres, all of a sudden it flicks you off in the other way. Now I've got a really bad steering wheel, so it's hard to counter steer in the first place, and the frame rate is really bad, so there's so much lag to my steering input, so it might just be that. So I can't really comment on that at the moment. Driving the Cup car as well, the 992 Cup car, the Porsche. If the wheel is anywhere off centre when you brake, then you just instantly lock up. I turned the brake balance all the way to the front wheels, at 55% was the maximum it would go, and literally you turn the wheel a little bit and hit the brakes like the Brands Hatch like this as you come into this corner, and you just lock up. You cannot brake at all, even just a dab of the brakes, it's just impossible. So I don't know if that's a bug, I don't know if that's realistic. I've never driven a Cup car before, but it's almost impossible to drive at the moment for me. And again, it might be something to do with my computer issues, I don't know, but at the moment that it's just impossible to be, at least be fast. You can slow down before the corner and then roll all your way through the double right-hander, but I mean, that's not very fast, is it? So that feels a little too strong. I couldn't drive in the rain because it's just the graphics just would not let me. As you can see here, it's just impossible, like 5 FPS. Although the night effects do look good, I'm sure they do. And I'm sure the graphics overall look really good. You know, they don't look fantastic for me because I've got everything turned off. But the lighting still looks really good. And I'm just really excited to try it and have great graphics. If you watch my videos, I'm sure you'll see I play Assetto Corsa, the original one, on CSP with all the effects on it. It looks unbelievable. And this is nowhere near that old game at the moment for me, which is really disappointing. So, yeah, it's really too early to have an opinion right now. But I'm basically unable to play at the moment. So I really hope they release a patch optimising the game. Because I can play, like I said, Cyberpunk, so I can play on medium settings perfectly fine, 30, 40 FPS. You know, all these games I can play. I've never had a game, only game that's ever threatened me was Minecraft when you put all the massive texture packs on. And then second place is this. It's just really impossible to play, so I'm really desperate for them to release another patch that maybe optimises things better. Or maybe there'll be a driver update for AMD. But yeah, my 5700 XT really is struggling, unfortunately. So hopefully they see this and that feedback gets back to Kunos. But I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm really excited to play more and for more content drops as well. I'll still definitely be playing it. But for me, for now, it's back to the old Assetto Corsa until I'm able to play this properly. So you can expect a few more videos on the old Assetto Corsa for now. So thanks so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are on the release so far, on the early access. And can't wait for what Kunos have got to come. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.